Hi, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. Today, I'm going to take you through my favorite Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episodes from least to most favorite as we do a countdown, not including the one from this year, 2019, because I haven't seen it for long enough to work it in anywhere. Number 7, Season 9, Episode 7. In I Bob Your Pardon, the Belchers stumble upon a conspiracy, re the turkey pardoning. The weakest of all the Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episodes, it is nonetheless festive, and the highlight is Bob getting to play in a cranberry bog. Plus you get to see some coyotes, I guess. Even a weak Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving is better than no Thanksgiving at all, I guess. Number 6, Bob's Burgers Season 6, Episode 4. Gail making bobsled. What's more relatable than having an annoying relative at your Thanksgiving dinner? One who tends to ruin things and lies and just wants attention and maybe brings her cats and eats all of her food and... Ugh. This is the type of person that can make it inconvenient for everybody and makes it really hard to love them, but they're family. In this episode, Gail needs help getting to the Belchers when an unexpectedly early snow makes travel difficult, and Bob inevitably gets snowed in at her house. The trek back to the Belcher's house is long, arduous, and annoying. Gail making bobsled may be at the bottom of the list, but it's still a great addition to the show, and it's a perfect example of putting up with those horrible family members that you maybe don't want to see all the time. Number 5, Bob's Burgers Season 8, Episode 5, Thanks Hoarding. Thanks Hoarding is kind of a melancholy episode starring Bob's friend Teddy, who's desperate for some Thanksgiving help. His family is coming over for dinner at his house, and he normally doesn't have to deal with this because they normally go to, I think it's his brother's house? Something like that. At any rate, Teddy's freaking out, which is normal for Teddy, and he wants Bob to cook for him, but things get out of hand, of course, and when the Belchers arrive at his house to help out, they realize Teddy is a hoarder. The rest of this episode is them helping him clean up his house, cook Thanksgiving dinner, and help him sort through his mostly garbage with some healthy side eye at those of us who actually are hoarders too. Fortunately, Teddy has a friend who owns a dumpster, so a lot of this episode is actually spent outside in a dumpster. This is a really great episode, and it shows how Teddy's become a part of the family, but Teddy's a lonely guy, so you may want to skip this one if you're feeling kind of left out this year. Number 4, Season 4, Episode 5, Turkey in a Can. I really struggled on where to put this one. I really enjoy it. It reminds me a lot of my own family Thanksgivings, not the weird parts, but you know, the whole everybody being together and it being pretty boring a lot. Kind of having to make your own fun and just hanging out with people you don't normally get to hang out with. And this episode has a little bit of a whodunit mystery, multiple turkeys, and some awkward flirtation between Bob and a butcher. This one's got Bob questioning everything from whether he can trust his wife and daughter to his sexuality. And of course, his sanity. This is a great episode, and since it deals with some of the kids growing up, it's kind of melancholy. So I put it a little bit further down on the list, even though the next entry in our list is not quite as Thanksgiving-y as I would like. Number 3, Season 5, Episode 4, Dawn of the Peck. What do carnival rides, daytime whiskey, and dawn of summer have to do with one another? The running of the turkeys turns into a nightmare in this sometimes creepy episode, full of the most turkeys just like ever. This weird take on Dawn of the Dead sees most of the family running from the frightening fowl while Bob stays home and introduces his daytime whiskey to his CD collection. It's a weird, drunken, creepy Donna Summerfield nightmare that you can't miss, with special appearances by Andy and Ollie, regular-size Rudy, and even Teddy and Mikey. This is a great guest-filled episode that also manages to fit in some drunk Bob, and as everyone knows, drunk Bob is best Bob. Hold on to your pilgrim hats though, because we're in the home stretch. And at number 2, we have Bob's Burgers Season 7, Episode 6, The Quirk Deucers. And I hope you're in the sweet spot of already finished eating, but it was a long time ago, so you're cool watching gross stuff again, because this next one has a finale that's gonna leave you utterly disgusted and uplifted. This weird entry into the list sees Bob take a back seat so that the episode can focus on the kids. Normally, the day before Thanksgiving is a half day, but this year the guidance counselor, Mr. Frond, is planning a Thanksgiving play. That means a full day of school when it should have been a half day, and a boring play that they have to sit through. Armed with Tina's questionable erotic friend fiction, The Quirky Turkey, they pitch it to Frond, but unbeknownst to Tina, the plan isn't to get her play seen. It's to make such a terrible play that the whole thing gets canceled so they can have their half day back. This all culminates in an over-the-top and thoroughly disgusting ending. This one has some great music and a really fun message, and it is genuinely good. You also get to see Louise taking things a little bit too far and regretting it, which is always a fun thing. And number 1 on our Bob's Burgers favorites list. I know, it's kind of cheesy to do the first episode as my favorite, but this one has some of the best moments, and it gives us the Thanksgiving song. Bob's Burgers, Season 3, Episode 5, An Indecent Thanksgiving Proposal. This is the very first Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episode, and they do an awesome job. We find out that Bob is obsessed with Thanksgiving. It's his favorite holiday. And as the episode goes on, you kind of realize that the family doesn't care about Thanksgiving at all. And they kind of just indulge him. But this year, Mr. Fishoder, his rich landlord, comes to them with a proposal that they can't really refuse. 5 months' rent in exchange for the family pretending to be his. A really fun episode. This one features Bob getting drunk on absinthe in the kitchen and going on a weird hallucination-filled journey that smacks of Totoro and Studio Ghibli stuff. This is actually one of the first episodes where you realize that the people working on this show really love it, and they love animation. It's kind of beautiful. This also brings us the first Thanksgiving song, which Bob is trying to convince his family repeatedly that there's no such thing as Thanksgiving songs. It's got some classic stuff in it, and anytime you see Kevin Kline in an episode of Bob's Burgers, it's always a treat. So my number 1 pick for Bob's Burgers is Season 3, Episode 5, An Indecent Thanksgiving Proposal. I hope you guys have all enjoyed this list. I sure had a fun time making the list, and I had an even more fun time making the paintings that go with it. Which ones are your favorites? Put them in order down below and let me know what you think. What did you think of this year's episode? Because it was pretty awesome. I don't know where to put it yet, but it's gonna be somewhere in the top 5. And thank you guys so much for sticking with me, and thank you for watching all of this episode and watching all of the videos so far. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys have so much fun and eat so much food. I love Thanksgiving food. All right.